One photograph just broke 53 years of scientific consensus, and NASA didn't take it. 4 astronauts did, through a window. Everything you were taught about the moon. Incomplete, much of it wrong. The Apollo samples are still sealed in nitrogen, locked away since the Nixon administration. We have the maps, the gravity surveys, the laser altimetry. And for half a century, the conclusion was the same. The moon is dead. A finished story, a museum piece in orbit, that consensus just shattered. On paper, Artemis II was a shakedown flight. No landing, no moonwalks, just a test. 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch and Canadian Jeremy Hansen. Strapped into their Orion capsule, they named it Integrity. The plan, launch April 1st. Loop around the moon. Come home 10 days later. Simple, but they brought something Apollo never had. Modern cameras, high dynamic range sensors, 400mm lenses capable of pulling detail out of deep shadow that 1972 film couldn't touch. And when Integrity swung behind the moon on April 6th, they pointed those cameras at something no human had photographed in over 50 years. And they didn't stop. 7 hours, working in shifts, 10,000 photographs. What they captured will rewrite the textbooks. At their farthest point, Integrity reached 252,756 miles from Earth. That beats the Apollo 13 record, the farthest humans have ever travelled from home. During the flyby, the capsule passed through Earth's shadow. The crew watched a total solar eclipse from deep space. 54 minutes of totality. Something no human being has ever witnessed. They also caught 6 meteoroid impacts flashing against the dark lunar surface, visible only because there was no sunlight to drown them out. Any one of those moments would have been historic. None of them is the reason this mission matters scientifically. The reason is the far side. Imagine floating alongside Integrity, looking down, watching the moon rotate beneath you. What you'd see would stop you cold. The entire far side lit at an angle no Earth-based telescope can ever capture, scrolling past your window, heavily cratered, ancient, brutal, nothing like the face you grew up staring at. For 40 minutes, Integrity vanished behind the moon. No radio contact, no communication with Earth. The most isolated 4 human beings in history. Commander Reed Wiseman described the experience as bending the mind. Not sitting in a capsule, he said. Transported. Then Earth appeared again as a small blue crescent, rising over the lunar horizon. And they took a photograph they called Earthset. Apollo 8 gave us Earthrise in 1968, home pulling into view. Artemis II gave us the opposite, home, dropping away, shrinking into the dark. That image already ranks among the most important in the history of human spaceflight. But the real story isn't the photograph. It's what's underneath it. Here's something planetary scientists have been quietly arguing about for 6 decades. The moon has 2 faces, literally. On the side facing Earth, there are vast dark plains called Maria, smooth volcanic terrain, basalt that oozed up billions of years ago and swallowed entire impact basins. They cover 31% of the near side. On the far side, 2%. Instead, a chaotic wasteland of overlapping craters, older, rougher, untouched. The crust is 20 kilometers thicker. The chemistry is different. The volcanic history is different. 2 hemispheres, same body, same origin. Look like completely different worlds. Nobody knows why. This is called the lunar dichotomy, and it is one of the oldest unsolved problems in all of planetary science. Every theory we've thrown at it over 60 years has cracked under pressure. the crust thickness theory, broken by the South Pole Aitken Basin, the thinnest crust on the Moon, almost no volcanism. The radioactive heating theory explains the imbalance, but not the origin. The second Moon collision hypothesis, the computer models work, the physical evidence, still missing. And then, in 2024, China did something nobody else had ever done. Chang'e 6 landed on the far side of the Moon, scooped up nearly 2 kilograms of material, and brought it home. First far-side sample return in history. When researchers ran isotopic analysis and compared those rocks against Apollo samples, the results were startling. The potassium was different, the sulfur was different, the iron was different. The data pointed to a single ancient impact, more violent than anyone estimated, that altered the far-side mantle in ways that never happened on the near side. The lunar dichotomy may not be a mystery at all. It may be a scar, one wound 4 billion years old that split the Moon into 2 worlds. And now the Artemis II photographs are being fed directly into that analysis. 10,000 frames, human captured, shot at sun angles, from distances, and at lighting conditions that no robotic probe has ever produced. Geologists who've spent decades studying this terrain through orbital data are now seeing the same craters lit by a low sun and noticing things the satellites missed entirely. Shadow geometry that reveals depth, color variations in ancient lava flows, terrain slopes that orbital altimetry underestimated. And that's before we get to the water. For the last 15 years, evidence has been piling up, quietly, stubbornly, that the Moon is wetter than anyone admitted. In 2009, India's Chandrayaan-1 found hydroxyl signatures across the surface. That same year, NASA deliberately crashed a probe into a polar crater and confirmed water ice. In 2020, the Sophia Observatory found molecular water in sunlit regions. Sunlit, where no ice should survive. Then, Chinese researchers found tiny glass beads scattered across the surface, each one a microscopic sponge for hydrogen. Collectively, they may hold hundreds of billions of tons of water. The picture forming, slowly against decades of orthodoxy, is this. The Moon is not a dead rock. It is a planetary body with a complex ongoing relationship with water. And yet everything we thought we knew about it was built from 6 Apollo landing sites. All on the near side, all within a narrow equatorial band. Imagine landing a plane in the middle of the Sahara and concluding the entire Earth is sand. That is, functionally, what we did. Here's something the press barely covered. After Artemis I, the uncrewed test flight in 2022, engineers found that the heat shield had behaved wrong. Chunks of the avcoat material had broken off during re-entry. In a pattern the models didn't predict. NASA spent 2 years investigating, debating whether to fly the crew with the same shield or delay. They decided to fly. Modified re-entry profile, steeper, shorter, hotter. On April 10th, Integrity hit Earth's atmosphere at nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour. Plasma wrapped the hull. The crew pulled nearly 4 Gs. For 6 minutes, communications blackout. Then the chutes deployed. Splashdown in the Pacific. 5:07 p.m. off the coast of San Diego. The shield held. Every photograph, every data point, every frame of the far side only exists because that flawed heat shield did its job. Two small craters near the rim of Oriental Basin were named during the mission. One is called Integrity, after the capsule. The other is called Carol, after Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife. She died in 2020. 5 years later, her husband carried her name to the far side of the moon and placed it on a crater that will outlast every country currently on Earth. Long after NASA exists, long after the United States exists, long after English is spoken anywhere, that crater will still be called Carol, a widower's tribute written onto a world. Artemis III is coming in 2027. Artemis IV, the first landing, is targeted for 2028. And where they're going is the South Pole, not for aesthetics, for water. Permanently shadowed craters at the South Pole hold confirmed water ice at temperatures around -240 degrees Celsius, colder than the surface of Pluto, colder than almost anywhere in the inner solar system. That ice hasn't moved since before life existed on Earth. It may contain chemical signatures from the solar system's first 100 million years. Comet fragments, meteoritic carbon, volatiles locked in place for 4 billion years. And when you split water, you get hydrogen and oxygen, rocket fuel and breathable air. Whoever controls that resource controls the economics of deep space. China knows this. Their crewed lunar program is targeting 2030. Their Chang'e missions have already outperformed expectations. The International Lunar Research Station, a China-Russia joint project, is scheduled to break ground at the South Pole in the early 2030s. Same region NASA is targeting. The 1960s are back. 2 superpowers, 1 patch of lunar real estate, and 10,000 photographs that are, in the most literal sense, reconnaissance. On their way home, the crew looked back, past the moon, into the void, and they photographed the Milky Way, the full spiral structure of our galaxy, 2 arms wrapping off a central bar of 200 billion stars, visible in a single frame. From inside the solar system, you can't normally see this. Too much atmosphere, too much glare. But out past the moon, with nothing between the lens and the dark, our home galaxy became visible as what it actually is. A flat disk, seen edge-on. Earth sitting roughly halfway out along one spiral arm. 4 people looked through a window and saw their entire address. That is what Artemis II represents. Not a visit, not a checkbox, a beginning. Apollo proved we could go. Artemis is about staying. The moon we thought we knew was a convenient fiction. Grey, silent, finished. That fiction is dying. What's replacing it is stranger, wetter, more geologically alive and more scientifically valuable than anyone who watched the last Apollo liftoff in December 1972 could have imagined. It started with 4 people in a capsule called Integrity, looking through a window, taking 10,000 photographs of a place nobody had seen with human eyes in half a century. The moon was never dead. We just stopped looking. And now, finally, we've started again.